Hello folks, and it's time for a hobby Q&A, my favourite kind of video, and the one that I don't get to do that often, unfortunately, because life is busy, and life is, well, it comes at you very, very, very quickly. Hope you're all doing well. This is the first of two Q&A videos over the next few weeks. The first one will be today, and the next one will be probably in a week's time. So, I asked for questions on my Patreon. If you want to be involved in the Q&A process, you need to be on Patreon, and you need to be exchanging messages with me there. I will message you from time to time, personally, asking you for some questions to send in, and we can have a little bit of a back and forth, and yeah, we can go from there. I got so many this time that I had to split this into two parts, because I'd be here all night if I had to do them all in one. So, hope you're all doing well. I'm doing fine. Today is Sunday, and I went to there is a park. No, not a park. It's a forest nearby, near to my local area, and they had a Halloween walk around thing. They had a nighttime. What they do is that they took over this entire forest, and they had this walkway going through the forest, which takes you about half an hour to an hour to walk around. And everywhere they have these like really big displays of lights and spooky things and stuff. They have actors in there. There's one playing Wednesday Addams who I tried to get to crack and she didn't. And all sorts of fun stuff, and it was really, really good. Fun fact: we saw a witch. So there was a girl playing a witch, and we walked past her. And she's standing there just like chilling out and stuff, and she's doing lots of stuff with the kids from behind the barrier, in front of her haunted house. And she looks like she's only like in her early 20s, lovely looking girl. And we walk over there, and it's quite quiet. This is our second go around. It's quite quiet, and I feel like a touch of rain on my head. It's not going to rain. There's like one or two splodges, And I say to her, "What do you guys do when it's raining? It's all lovely, all electric lights, it looks amazing." And she said, "Oh, I just go back into my house," staying in character. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, yeah, you go back into your house, cool." And she kind of just broke, because she looked around, realised there was no other kids there, just me and my missus, and she went, sorry, on Friday we just packed up because it was too heavy, the rain was too heavy, but usually we just crack on, you know what I mean? Oh, bloody hell, it's bloody tiring, isn't it? And it was just amazing to see this person go from complete witch mode to toke of the fag. Just crack on, really, And I was like, "Yo, what happens to all the electrics?" And she says, "Oh, the electric is all underneath canopies and stuff, and they're in see-through plastic boxes, so the rats can't get to them and chew through them." I was like, "Oh, great, okay, cool." And then we saw kids coming, so I was like, "Anyway, bye." She was like, "Oh, well, bye." Just went around the corner. It's it was a really fun place, and I think we're gonna go back there for Christmas because it was really cool. I had fun anyway. Really, really, really special place. So I guess you should get into some not hobby nightmares, questions before I go anywhere else. So first question. I don't have the names on these, by the way. I never do, because a lot of you use your real names, and I don't want to dox you, so there you go. Unlike Sniper Wolf. Anyway, I wanted to pitch some questions for your coming Q&A video. This time, they're hobby-related, alright? They don't have to be hobby-related, by the way. It's Q&A, so you can do whatever you want. You pay your money, you can ask me whatever you want. First question, in your opinion, what is the reason behind the unbalanced nature of competitiveness in the wargaming hobby? I'm talking about the players that have such a need to win at all costs, at the expense of those around them, for what should be a game of fun. Okay. He then goes into his own thoughts, which I've read, and they might colour my answer, so I don't really want to read them out, because I've already read them on Patreon, but I think they actually did colour my response, to be honest with you. But so, in response to that, I think there are people who are hardwired to need to win to see a value in something, and it's not as if it's not technically their fault. It's just how they enjoy things, right? A lot of people say that of the Dark Souls brigade. I don't. I think there's lots of normal gamers who play Dark Souls. You know what I mean? Like it's not that kind of a thing. But like there are lots of people who say, people who play games like Dark Souls are in it to win it. They're there to win and to push themselves and to be pushed. And that's technically true, I suppose. But there are a lot of other people who play first-person shooters who are in it to win. And that's all they do. You know, they look at somebody like Dr. Disrespect or a Shroud or something like that, and they think that that's the norm. That's how they're supposed to act, without understanding that that guy's playing a character. You know, and he's playing a character, so you don't need to. That's the whole point. You live vicariously through his character. So I think certain people are just hardwired to want competitive wins, and it can come from many places. It can come from somebody who hasn't really had many wins in life or wins in general in games and stuff, and so they then go hog and try to win everything that they do in the hobby space. They look at fellow geeks as easy targets to get good wins on, and they start to go down a very toxic spiral of seeing their own self-worth as a hobbyist through the amount of wins that they have. Do you know what I mean? So it is a very clear spiral to go down. I felt myself going down it more than once. On more than one occasion. I tend to just step back from it, though, and realise that, look, I'm here to have fun, and the minute this becomes stressful, it's not fun. So I need to just walk away, you know? It's a lot easier for someone like me who's into stories and things to walk away from the competitive side. It's not easy for all people. In fact, I don't really understand people who do Warhammer and things like that just for the competitive stuff. I don't understand it, and I don't think I ever will. But you enjoy your hobby however you want. But what makes them? Well, it can be many things. Maybe they're just addicted to it in all the spheres. A lot of sportsmen who I know who come into this hobby tend to not be overly competitive people. It's weird. They sort of see the hobby as an escape from that. But when they eventually stop playing sports, that's when the hobby takes on the sporting dynamic. Do you know what I mean? And so the hobby sort of replaces the sport in their eyes. I've known a lot of football fans who've done that, who've gone away from football and gone into the hobby, and then the hobby becomes their team and becomes their thing that they have to win all the time. So it could be one of those, like supplanting one thing for another. It could be somebody who's not had very many wins in life, as I just said. It could be somebody who's just naturally hardwired to want the challenge of beating somebody. It could be that, you know? All of those things are wrapped up in making somebody want to do that side of the hobby. You don't have to understand them, because you don't have to play against them, you know? And if you do have to play against them, then cultivate another form of hobby group that doesn't have those types of people within it. That's going to be a video this week, actually, about doing your own, getting your own hobby group together and making sure that it's a good one. That's going to be something that we're doing this week, so stick to the channel for that one. What do you think? Second question. Do you have a possible explanation as to why Games Workshop seems to refuse to embrace the ways of innovating their brand within the hobby? Here's what I mean. I've watched painting tutorials from Games Workshop's website, and the staff member uses a tile, piece of paper, or a paper plate instead of a wet palette. Almost every professional painter around uses a wet palette, but yet a customer has to go to a competitor to get this very simple, common tool. I'm not a marketing genius for sure, but with all of the random stuff they produce, that has an arguable utility. Okay, they could easily produce their own branded palette, sponge and paper to get more shekels out of the customer, and the other one is about an air tank and air hose. Okay, cool. Alright, so you have to remember, the Games Workshop painting tutorials are not high-end painting tutorials. They're not even painting tutorials by particularly good painters. If you ask Duncan Rhodes or anyone like that, they will tell you that, right? They're not even done by very good painters. They're done by experienced hobbyists, not professional painters. Nobody from Siege Studios or any professional outlet like that is doing tutorials, because if they did, they're telling you how to cut them off the market, right? So you have to remember that the tutorials that Games Workshop produce are for the everyman. They're for people like me, not for people like you. Right? You're clearly a very good painter. Well, they're for people like me, who don't really know how to paint. Who when they do a good model, are very surprised that they managed to do it in the first place. That's what the tutorials are for. And when you say, go and get a wet palette, a lot of these guys, they try to do tutorials where you don't have to get specialist tools to do your job. So they want to keep the barrier to entry quite low. If you've already got your paints and you've already got your brushes, that's it. That's all you should need. Everybody has tiles in their house. Everybody has tissue paper. Everybody has kitchen roll. Everybody has water. We should have water, hopefully, right? So all of the things that they use in these tutorials are basically anything that you can have to hand in your own house as a beginner. They're not going to go and tell you to get an airbrush. That's one thing that fucking irks me. No end. Hey guys, I've got this really cool painting tutorial about how to do a load of granites really quickly. Step 1, buy a £700 fucking airbrush. Oh, piss off, mate. I hate tutorials like that. Step 1, buy an airbrush. No, mate. No. How about you become a better painter? Alright? Nothing against you if you use an airbrush at home. I'm sure it's great. Right? But don't release videos on YouTube showing people how to paint and then use your, like, really expensive airbrush to do so. Don't be a dickhead. Okay? Right? Do painting tutorials or don't. But don't just spray something and call it done. Alright? Oh, fuck yourself. I can't stand people like that. It really, really does annoy me. It annoys me more than it should when somebody does that. Oh, guys, I'm going to show how to paint this really cool thing. Go on, then. Oh, yes, it's photo real. Yes, it is. But you for 90% of this, you've used paint thinners I've never heard of with a specific airbrush. My airbrush may not be like yours. And your specific one's probably very expensive. So, go fuck yourself. Like, that's a ridiculous thing to do. That's not a tutorial. That's you showing off, dude. And you're not showing off any skill. You're showing off the fact that you can press a button. That's what you're showing. Okay? Right. Enough. So I commend Games Workshop for the way that they do their painting tutorials. I think it's great. So, again, Games Workshop don't do high-end specialist stuff. Because they're not for high-end specialist people. You know? That's not what they're for. They are not for high-end specialist people. Let me just answer this one thing, sorry. This is a Q&A, so I can do this. There we go. Excellent stuff. So, Games Workshop are about 3 things. Recruitment. New people coming into the hobby. New hobbyists coming into the hobby. Sorry, that is me. I've got to reply to people. It's my Sunday night. It's my networking night. It's what I do. They're about you coming into the hobby and you starting the hobby. They can't say to you, go and buy this airbrush. Go and buy this wet palette. Go and buy this, sculpting tool. Those are available, but you need to go and find them. If you want to get a sculpting tool, Games Workshop, you need to go and find them. The bog standard stuff, like the files and things, they do sell them, right? But you need to go and seek them out. And they never really use them in their tutorials for good reason. It's for beginners, dude. It's not for you. I'm sure, like they would say, yeah, we would love to sell more of these, but I bet you they don't. I'm willing to bet that their hobby supplies make a loss. Clippers, paint brushes, and not paint. Paint will probably make a profit, but clippers, paint brushes, files, hobby knives, things like that. I bet you all those specialist tools make a loss. And I'm willing to bet you we won't see them from Games Workshop for much longer. I think you'll only get like clippers and things in the starter box sets now. In a year or two, because they're not about you guys. They're not about specialist hobbyists. They're not about guys who are on the top end of things. Because number 1, you can't be taken for fools, and number 2, you hardly spend any fucking money. It's just how it is, man. I ran stores myself. That you don't spend money. Specialist guys who've been in the hobby for decades tend not to spend very much money at a Games Workshop. It just is what it is. There are the exceptions to the rule, and there's always one who'll buy the odd box, but these aren't guys who are going to come in to start the hobby and buy loads of shit to keep you afloat, right? As a store. So that's why they don't do it. That's why they don't do it. There are sometimes reasons behind the madness. Anyway. As a games next question. As a Games Workshop product enjoyer of the last 25 years, I've become a bit hesitant when I hear about the coming changes to the codex and rule systems. Changes that supposedly are all for the benefit of the customer. It feels more like a boa constrictor patiently waiting for the next exhale to tighten the vice grip on our wallets. What do you think? Okay. Question 1 related to that sentence. Okay. How much can we reasonably expect Games Workshop to have the customer's needs in mind if those needs are opposed to their bottom line? I'll answer that one first. That one's a good one. So, how much can we reasonably expect Games Workshop to have the customer's needs in mind if those needs are opposed to their bottom line? Not at all is the answer to that question, because we live in a capitalist society, for good and bad, for good and ill. So, not at all. If it affects their bottom line in a negative way, then they have a responsibility to their own company, their own employees, and their own dividend shareholders to make sure that all the things that they are doing are profitable and they're making money. If they're not doing those things, then they're failing as a company, quite frankly. There are a lot of shareholders out there who say if you're not growing 10% every single year, no matter what company you are, you're failing as a company. That's bullshit, but that's what they think. That's what they think. Okay? So, how much can we reasonably expect Games Workshop to have the customer's needs in mind if those needs are opposed to their bottom line? We can't. Okay? We can wish for it. That's perfectly fine. I wish for it. I wish that Games Workshop would put our needs above their own bottom line. But I know it's not going to happen. And so I can't expect it. I can't expect it. I can wish for it, but I can't expect it. Because they'll never do it. It'll never happen. And quite frankly, if they were running my company, if Games Workshop was my company, my family company, I would want them to ignore the shit out of you. And be like, no, what's the bottom line, dude? What are we selling? What are we selling? Everybody in the world is very quick to say, oh, if I was running Games Workshop, I'd do this. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. If you were getting a £2 million check every year, and you were setting your family up for life, and then that £2 million check became a £1.1 million check, because they started listening to their customers, you'd be fucking furious. I'm sorry, you would. Because money breeds money. It's alright saying, well, I know I'd be a millionaire, I'd be living on a beach. No, you wouldn't. Because you own Games Workshop, you'd be working your ass off to get more money, to set your family up for life. That's what you'd be doing. Right? If you're responsible, that's what you'd be doing. You'd be trying to work your ass off to make the company better, yeah. But to make it more profitable. If that profit goes down, you're not doing your job properly. It just is what it is. Again, I wish it wasn't the case. I wish they could just stop everything and listen to us all of the time. They can't. They can't. They need to make money. And they need to make more money than they did last year. Or their shareholders will not be happy. They're a publicly traded company. That's just, it is what it is. It is what it is, dude. It comes with the territory. And they're never going to change. So, you know. Question 2. How often can a company, or a person for that matter, be given the benefit of the doubt before positivity turns to naivety? Okay. When it comes to Games Workshop releases, I'm solidly in the camp of, yeah, we'll see. Okay. So how far can you be positive before it turns naive? Okay. So this is about picking and choosing your battles and what hills you want to die on. Do you know what I mean? It'd be very easy for me to sit here and say, oh, whenever they do something wrong, you need to come down on it and you need to be really angry, you need to stamp your feet and all that sort of stuff. It'd be very easy for me to do that, but I'm not going to. For the main reason that, in all honesty, Games Workshop are a mixed bag, and they do a lot of mixed things. They do amazing models. They really do. And their customer service, most of the time, is extremely good. If you don't believe me, go and look up their reviews. Even the high street reviews, go and look them up. They're one of the best stores on the high street, and they're one of the best people to deal with if you have a order or something that goes wrong, if you're a member of the public. Behind closed doors and with trade accounts, that's a different story, and I'm sure the manager of Composite Games and other companies like his will give you a lot of horror stories when it comes to Games Workshop and them getting things wrong on a daily basis with them and not putting things right. Whereas with Johnny Public, though, listen, I've never known Games Workshop to not set something right if it's not right. Do you know what I mean? If you have... I've had boxes before turn up to my house, have a sprue missing, and I'll request that sprue again, and they'll send me another box. That's happened on more than one occasion, where they just haven't been asked to send me the sprue again. They just go, I'll give them another box, bollocks to it. Because good publicity is good. So they do it. They do that quite often, right? So they're a mixed bag. They're a mixed bag company. They put the prices up all of the time, and a lot of the price hikes are very, very, very greedy. A lot of the releases that they do are very, very cynical. They only tend to want to release Space Marine kits at all times because they sell very well compared to everybody else. They don't want to know. They take our feedback and sometimes they wipe their arse with it because they're just not bothered about what we think and what we say and what we do, as long as we keep paying for things. So I think the naivety comes in when they're treating you badly and you hand over your money anyway. I think that's when it comes in. There needs to be a time when you... I've come to that point with 10th edition, where I really enjoyed 10th edition for a little while, until I started to play, like, when I got to about 10 or 11 games in, I was like, yeah, this sucks. This game sucks. And it sucked for a long time. I tried to throw myself into 10th and make my entire channel about 10th for a while there. I really went for it, and I played game after game after game after game to try and get into it. And the first 2 or 3 games I really liked because I was playing against friends who I knew quite well and who I knew I was going to have a good time with. As soon as I started playing Johnny Public, as soon as I started playing people I didn't know, I would have 1 good game in 3 on average. And the other person was completely fine. They weren't ruining the game. The game was ruining the game. And that's when I stepped back and said, okay, 1-page rules it is. Because Games Workshop have not listened to me. And have not listened to anybody that I know. So, 1-page rule it is. I stepped away and said, look, it would be naive of me to just continue this farce when I'm not enjoying the game. So I'll go to 1-page rules, and I'll have fun. And I'll preserve the enjoyment of my hobby by doing that. So, that's what I do. You know, that was my line in the sand. So, you're only naive if you don't have a line in the sand. If you're a whale and you just keep splurging money over Games Workshop, giving them money when they don't deserve it, right? When they haven't earned it, yeah, that's when you're naive. That's when you're naive. Being excited over a release doesn't make you naive. It makes you a hobbyist, mate. Don't let anyone tell you any different, right? There are 2 different sides to it. So there you go. There's my answer. Next question. Hey, North. Hey, man, I've got a question for your next Q&A. I'm going to take a little quick drink here. Hey, man, I've got a question for your next Q&A. So I listened to your justified rant on the Black Templars and how the grimdark vibe and tone of 40k is dead. I agree with you, and also more the loss of the gritty aesthetic. I began my journey into 40k in 3rd edition, and the overall gothic tone and art really helped pull me in. I'm sad to see that this shift over the years, and so this is my question to you. How do we, as fans of and players of 40k, keep that grim dark vibe going? What can we do, if anything, to maintain it in our gaming culture? I'm currently painting grimdark Necrons, and that seems to be my only tangible contribution to regaining my long-lost sense of gothic dystopia. Side note, I'm also planning on starting a grimdark scheme to a Grey Knight Inquisitor army. Cheers, man. Good man of culture there. Well done. Okay. So, how do we keep grimdark going? Here's the thing. By liking it. Simple. By liking it. by that being what you like about 40k. If that's what you like about 40k, no amount of Avenging Sun Saturday morning cartoon books are going to sway you from the fact that you like the grimdark nature of 40k, right? Make your 40k more grimdark. Write stories about the more grimdark nature of 40k. Do models about the more grimdark nature of 40k. Do art, tattoos, storyboards, gaming boards. Share it online. Share the love of the grimdark online and push that part of the hobby. Just celebrate the grimdark in everything that you do. If you're doing a model, make it more gritty. I did it with my own Marines, right? They were very silver. And I thought, not grimdark enough. So I got my ink brush out and I went, fuck off. Give a bit of that. And really made them a lot darker from what they were. Now they're very iron coloured. And I like it. I then went a bit further. Got a bit of blood for the blood god. And splurged it over the sword arms and things like that. Threw skulls and heads and everything on there. So these Primaris Marines now look utterly grim dark. They're just grim. You know? So that's what I would do. Celebrate the grimdark. You know, engage with it. Don't engage with the things you don't like. Engage with the things that you like. And as soon as you keep doing that, Games Workshop have no choice but to listen to you if they're making money. Okay? Every single time a company, Blizzard for example, every single time a company that is worth billions ignores their fan base to do other things that they think is cool, the company fucking fails. Hello, Blizzard. Right? Every single time a company, no matter what you do in geekdom, hello, Star Wars. Hello, Disney Star Wars, right? Every time you do something that goes completely against the will of the fan base and what they like about what you do, you fail. It may take a year. It may take 5 years. Normally it takes only about 5 years. It's done that with Star Wars. It took about 5 years and now it's tanking. Right? Blizzard, again, about 5 years. Now, Blizzard about 10 years, really. But really, the last 5 years has been a real, fail after fail after fail. Because they keep doing things that the fans don't want. And even when they're told the fans don't want them, they keep doing them. People have a go at EA all the time. And I do all the time as well. But the one thing they did do is when the fans revolted, they panicked. They panicked. And they did an about face straight away. The only reason we have Jedi Survivor and games like that, one-player games like that, is because of the backlash to Battlefront back in the day. There was a huge backlash to that. People saying, no, we're done with this multiplayer bullshit, and you trying to milk us. EA have been very, very, very light on that ever since. They've been light on microtransactions. They brought out single-player games. I mean, the sports fans are still fucked, but hey, it's your own fault for buying the same game every year, right? So, a successful company that merges with the times and goes on with the times will listen to their fan base. EA are doing that, even though they're still a terrible company that does really stupid decisions from time to time. By and large, they're listening and they're making games that people want, by and large. Okay? Hopefully Blizzard follows that trend. I don't think it will. By the way, people have a go at EA for the mess at BioWare. I don't agree. BioWare is its own thing. BioWare have done themselves in. But when you hear a lot of stories from ex-BioWare employees and they say, no, the cool things that have been in BioWare games over the past few years have been EA ideas. Yeah. The flying bit in Anthem, BioWare didn't come up with that. BioWare put it in and then took it out because they thought it was lame. It was EA stepping in and saying, no, that's the only good bit of your game so far, put it back in. They're not stupid. They're a good company, right? They're terrible ethically, but they're very good at what they do. And that's listening to the people that they're selling games to, right? Again, plurals. You got to think in plurals. Are EA an evil company? Yes. Are they good at what they do? Also, yes. I would say the same thing with Games Workshop. Are they an evil company? Yes. Are they good at what they do? Also yes. Right? It is what it is, man. Yeah. But the one thing I can guarantee, if you engage with grimdark, if you love yourself some grimdark stuff, and you put your money behind grimdark stuff, Games Workshop will make more of it. It is what it is. It took them long enough to nuke the old world, and the old world wasn't selling for decades. So, you know, trust me, if you put your money behind it, they'll react, and they'll start making more of it. So, okay, so my next question, for God's sake, I may as well read it out. So my question, can you be my daddy? No, I can't, and you need to stop doing this, man. It's just, dude, like, either use your hand, or, like, there's women out there, man. Go out there and, you know, go and do your thing. Well, that is a gender-neutral name, though, so I'm not sure whether, you know, well, I'm sure that if you're a woman, I'm sure there's a man out there for you, but it ain't me. And I'm sure if you're a guy, there's a woman out there for you, just, you know. Next question. My question would be, how do you manage the hobby, mainly painting, around the day that starts at 4 AM and you get home at 8 PM and every other weekend off? Okay. I can't use your painting pictures, man, because again, this is not that kind of video. But how would I go about? Oh, that's a hard one. That's what she said. You're obviously doing it because you're painting models, you know. What I would do is I would have succinct goals with my time. You know, how much time do I have today to do painting? What can I reasonably get done in that time? Okay, that's what I want to do in that time frame. Also, make sure you have audiobooks and videos, like mine for instance, queued up and ready to go, so you know you've got enough entertainment to last you just that amount of time. That's what I would do. Have a regimented time. I've got a graph. Oh yeah, I've got a graph of the painting and things that I want to get done in a day, or any given day that I'm doing stuff. And I stick to it. I've got a graph for my writing schedule. You know, I've given myself 2 days off this week, but normally I do 2,000 words a day of my own writing, just to keep my skills sharp and keep myself on the curve, that I know what I'm talking about and I know what I'm doing. Because I edit I edit a lot of stories, I edit a lot of books, I edit a lot of creative writing exercises, so I've got to make sure that I'm on tip-top shape. You know, sometimes I write an article on ancient history, whether it gets published or not, doesn't matter. You know, I write it anyway, so I've got a backlog. And if a client says, "Hey, do you have an article of this that I can upload on my website, or that I can put into my magazine?" I can say yes, here it is. I can give it straight to them. So I do that every single day, and I keep my skills sharp. I don't really have time to do any of this, but I make the time because I put it in my regimented day. Right? I know how many hours I can spend doing this, and once it's done, it's done. That's also really, really, really good for keeping you honest. So if you know you've got like a 2-hour window to do painting, you will paint in those 2 hours. You won't waste it, because you've only got 2 hours, and it's a hard cut-off point of when you stop. So really, I probably get more done writing and painting-wise and things like that than somebody who's got all day. I know somebody who's unemployed out there, right? I probably get more writing done in a day than the unemployed person does. Simply because I regiment my time. And I know my writing's got to be done by a certain time. And if it's not done, I failed for that day. That's a hell of a motivator. So that's what I would do. I'd regiment my time doing my hobby. And even if it's just an hour, in an hour you could probably get 10 Space Marine pauldrons done. You know what I mean? In an hour. If you're quick. And if you're set up, ready to go, right? So that's what I would do. Just regiment your time and do it in fits and starts. You don't need to do an entire model at once. make sure you do them in bulk, so all Space Marine pauldrons, get the pauldrons done one day, then the next day is helmets, then the next day is the legs, and the next day, do it that way. And eventually, you will be very surprised in just 1 week how much you get done, as long as you regiment your time. Anyway, last question for today. Face reveal when? Now, that may not seem like a long question, but it is an important one, because that's something that I've thought about for a while. And I don't know, man. Like, I've got no... Me sharing my face isn't really Mate, if you're on the Discord, you already know what my face looks like, by the way. If you want to know what my face looks like, go on the Discord and message me on... don't message me, but, I'm on Discord, so go and have a look. That's what I look like. And, it's not really about me going, I don't want anyone to see me, because for any sort of, like, Quasimodo, like, please be kind. It's nothing like that, right? I'm not an ugly motherfucker. But, like, it's more... I like having the boundary. Do you know what I mean? I like having the boundary there. I like having Northern Exile as his own thing. He's his own character, He's his own character. It's basically all Northern Exile is myself with the volume turned up to 11. That's basically what he is, and I like having him over there. You'll notice in these Q&A videos I'm a lot calmer. I don't rant a lot. I don't, I do rant in my day-to-day life, and I do that all the time. In fact, I watched a movie, Old Dads, with Bill Burr in it last night, and I just was like, yeah, this is why I like Bill Burr. We're literally the same person. The same personality, the same outrage at certain things. But yeah, I like having that separation of me, me, as in me, and Northern Exile's over there somewhere. I like having that. It's like a nice... I get to step away from the channel and, have that separation there. Whereas if it was me on here, then I wouldn't really have that. I'd be tied up personally in the channel. And I'm not sure how healthy that would be. Especially because, remember, I'm not Chapter Master Valrak. I'm not Major Kill. I don't just deal with the hobby. A lot of the things I deal with on this channel are of a very personal nature to the people who write them in, right? I had a back and forth with somebody just today about, why haven't you put my story on your channel yet? And to be honest with you, there are certain stories that I get that I'm very worried about putting on the channel. Not because of the length sometimes, but sometimes they're very, very, very close to the bone stories. I've had stories about all sorts of things. Some of them are not safe for work in a very dark way. And I've had to read them and come to the conclusion that no, I can't put this on the channel. And usually, if I can, I email them back and say, look, this isn't really for the channel, but, I wish you all the best of luck. Here's my advice. And at the very least, I'll give you an email. I may even give you a call. If I think you need it, I may even set up some time and say, look, let's call, right? And I'll call you, maybe for half an hour, if that's what you need, to try and get you to stop circling the drain. And then I'll leave you alone, So yeah, that's why I don't want my face on here. I don't want to dox myself. I don't want people to be... Can you imagine, be given this advice and then somebody goes and says, well, I mean, I've never really made, many mistakes publicly. I've never done anything like that, but I wouldn't want people to go into, oh, you work for this school for so-and-so and so-and-so. And then, I work in school from time to time. So if I say a story on here that's really fucking not safe for work, and it's funny, and it's from my own life, I've done that before, right? Can you imagine if somebody was really embittered and angry at me for something that I said about toy soldiers, and so they doxed me and called one of the schools that I worked for, and gave them some of those videos and said, look what he's done in his past. It's disgusting. You shouldn't be teaching your kids. Right? Can you imagine that? Yeah, that's why I don't want to be on here. Again, there's nothing on here that's bad. It's all laddish stuff. It's all stuff like, well, I drank loads and I threw up on my shoes, or stuff like that. There's always stuff like that, or breakup mishaps that I've had, or relationships that haven't gone well, and things like that. But still, it's still personal things that I probably don't want my school to know about. And if you saw my picture that was emblazoned on YouTube, you could probably take that picture and do some wizardry online and find out not just where I live, but where I've worked and what I've done, and you know, and what schools I've been teaching at, and what colleges I've been teaching at, and things like that. So I don't really want to do that. You know, it's for a good reason. Anyway, because there are not jobs out there. There are people who will say, I don't like your opinion on Blood Angels, so I'm going to dox you. I'm going to make sure you lose your job. I'm afraid there are people out there like that, and there are people out there who go on some of my videos and they put nasty comments literally like months after I've done the video. There's no chance of me replying to this, right? And for some reason it'll slip through the cracks and YouTube will show it to me when it shouldn't, because it's from months ago, but like they show it to me and it'll be like the nastiest comment ever, and I'm like, why the fuck did you do that? Why did you do that? Like, I don't understand the time you must have in the day to do that. I got a comment the other day on one of my videos, and it was essay length. I didn't read it, but it was essay length about something that they disagreed with in the video. And when I actually read the first few sentences of it and then stopped, because I was like, what the fuck? You know, I'm not reading all this. It was literally like they'd missed the entire point of the conversation. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't anything controversial they were talking about. It was a really snooty, nastily worded comment about something I'd said hobby-wise. And it was literally like a really talk-downy, passive-aggressive comment. And it just started out that way, and I stopped reading. If you ever want a YouTuber to read your comment, be nice. Be nice. Alright? The only ones I reply to that are nasty are ones that are short enough that I can read it and that I am in the mood and I can go, right, I'm taking this guy down, fuck it. And I'll be in there, and do you know what happens all the time? And this is what really pisses me off. If I go and I challenge somebody, 9 times out of 10 they'll go, oh, I didn't realise that, North, I apologise, blah blah blah, and they'll start acting really nice. And I will reciprocate that. I'll say, okay, no problem, man, and I'll move on. But I will be thinking to myself, what a fucking douche. You didn't even have the conviction to stand behind your argument. As soon as I am not just some random voice online, as soon as I decide to say, okay, here I am, would you like to say that again? They say no. They say no. That's why I really don't want my face to be on my YouTube channel. You know, if you want to see what I look like, I'm on Discord, it's fine. And it's one of those pictures where I'm on it, but you'd be hard pressed to find me on anything else because it's not, you know, it's not a great picture. But yeah, it's there. So yeah, that's why I'll probably won't do a full face reveal, but never say never. Never say never. I mean, I was thinking of doing one in the summer when I was doing mental health videos. I was thinking of doing one when I was running. So I'd go for a run and talk to you guys whilst I'm on a run. That'd be quite cool. Or even like if I go away on holiday to somewhere nice and I can sit on the beach and talk to you. I might do that in the future. But face reveals, probably not. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, love you all a long time. I'll speak to you soon, and I'll be back next week with another hobby Q&A. Have a wonderful rest of your evening, rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon. Have a good one. Bye now. Are you still there? Yeah. It really annoys me that I never finish off the word bye now. I go, bye now. Like some sort of fucking mouth breather. Okay. Bye now. Have a lovely day. Alright. Bye. I guess I'm going now. Yeah. I'm going now? Yeah. Any second now. Any second now. I could just do this all night, couldn't I? Could just be sitting here for like another 8-9 hours. ASMR with North. You know? Yeah. If people still request that, I might actually end up doing it. But it does make me feel really weird that a load of really... In my head, when I think ASMR, I think a load of hot chicks are listening to my voice, like cuddling their Dark Eldar plushie and imagining it's me when they go to sleep. But what's really happening is some really overweight, you know, bear of a man with a really big beard from Skegness or somewhere is listening to me as he goes to sleep. And if that's you, mwah, I hope you have a lovely sleep. And you can put that where you like, as long as it's not anywhere weird. Alright? Good. Yeah. Yeah. Shit, I'm still here, aren't I? Oh well. What else? I think that's it. Oh, no. I've just gotten some more Yorkshire Gold. Yorkshire Gold tea. Very, very, very nice. And also, if you want to be involved in the painting competition, there's going to be a announcement about that over the next few weeks. So make sure you stick to the channel, and you'll know what's going on. You'll know what's going on. You know. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck, I'm still recording.